Hey guys, Game City HQ here, and welcome back to another deep dive into gaming history. Today, we are exploring the rise and fall of a game that once had us sprinting through dystopian corridors and dodging deadly traps, Vector 2. If you're a fan of the original Vector or just love digging into game mysteries, you're in for a ride. Now, you might remember the name Vector from those golden years of mobile gaming. Developed by Neki Studios, the same team behind the widely successful Shadow Fight 2 and Shadow Fight 3, Vector was a sleek, Parker-infused side-scrolling runner that captured the hearts of millions. It was simple, fast-paced, and had that cinematic flair that made you feel like you were part of a bigger story. And then came Vector 2, a game that felt different. But here's the twist that not many know, Vector 2 wasn't originally going to be called that. In fact, the game's initial title was Vector Labs. Yeah, it wasn't meant to be a sequel. This detail alone already hints at a bigger story, something that suggests the game's identity was uncertain from the very beginning. That uncertainty would echo through its gameplay, story, and eventual downfall. So let's rewind to the year 2016. At that time, Facebook browser games were all the rage. Titles like Candy Crush, Plants vs Zombies, and other casual games were transitioning from Facebook to mobile, taking advantage of the booming Android and iOS ecosystems. Vector had already made its mark, standing out with its sharp silhouette aesthetic and gripping chase sequences. Fans were hungry for more. When Vector 2 launched, expectations were sky high. The first game was all about breaking free, escaping a totalitarian regime using only your agility and wit. It was fluid, empowering, and had a sense of rebellion that resonated with players. Vector 2, however, flipped the narrative on its head. You weren't escaping anymore, you were trapped inside a high-tech lab. You were a subject in an experiment. And instead of freedom, the game teased hopelessness. Players were introduced to the mysterious curator, an enigmatic figure who runs the lab. His role? To monitor you. To test you. You're told to collect items, survive longer runs, and upgrade your gear to proceed. But no matter how far you run, the game's core message remains hauntingly clear: no escape, and they meant that literally. The game's trailer didn't mince words. It straight up told you, there is no escape. At first, most players shrugged it off as clever marketing. A hook. A dare. But as they progressed through the floors, surviving traps, dodging lasers, upgrading suits, they realized something eerie. The game really had no ending. It simply stopped. Even if you followed every objective the game gave you, even if you collected every item the curator requested before attempting to reach floor 35, you were met with an abrupt, anticlimactic end. The screen would glitch. You'd fall into the void. Dead. That's it. Players were left wondering, was that a bug? Did I miss something? Is there a secret ending I didn't unlock? Turns out, it wasn't a bug. That was the ending. Or at least, the only one the game offered. The chilling part? The game design subtly supports that idea. The curator never promised freedom. He only ever said he needed more data. You weren't escaping, you were being studied. Now, here's where things get wild. Despite the dead-end story, many players kept going. The floors in Vector 2 are procedurally generated, meaning the layout changes every time. Players managed to reach floor 50, then 60. Some even documented runs up to floor 117. But no matter how high you climbed, the result was always the same: your run ended in death. The deeper message began to set in: it didn't matter how skilled you were, how well equipped your suit was, or how perfect your run had been. You could never escape the lab. This sparked a ton of fan theories. Some believe Vector 2 is actually a prequel to the first game. That you're a test subject from the early stages of the anti-system movement. That your sacrifice in the lab somehow leads to the events of Vector 1, where a rebel finally breaks free. It's a compelling theory, but the game never confirms it. Others believe Vector 2 was more of a tech showcase than a full-fledged game. Neki was developing their animation tool, Cascadeur, around the same time. The game's advanced animations, smoother transitions, more realistic falls, intricate trap movements, All seemed designed to highlight the tool's capabilities. Some fans theorize that Vector 2 was a prototype, a side project that was never meant to reach the scale of its predecessor. And when you really look at the mechanics, that theory holds water. The gear system in Vector 2 feels half-baked. In Vector 1, your progression was based on skill. You mastered parkour moves, learned level layouts, and adapted. But in Vector 2, your survival heavily depended on your equipment. You had to collect in-game currency, upgrade suits, install modules, and even then, RNG could destroy your run. It shifted from a skill-based runner to a grind-heavy survival game. Add to that the game's monetization push. While not pay to win %, Vector 2 heavily encouraged microtransactions. Need an upgraded suit? You could grind for hours, or just buy the materials. This frustrated longtime fans. The original was about freedom and fluid gameplay. This one felt more like survival under pressure, both in the game and out of it. Even worse, the updates stopped coming. Neki moved on. While Shadow Fight 3 received continuous support, patches, events, and PvP content, Vector 2 was left in stasis. Bugs were never fixed. New missions were never added. The story was never continued. Then, in 2024, it happened. Quietly. Without any announcement, Vector 2 was removed from the Play Store. One day it was there. The next, it was gone. No final update. No closure. Just erased. And for a game all about being trapped with no way out, maybe that was the most fitting end of all. But that's not where the story ends. Because here's the thing. Fans haven't forgotten. Communities on Reddit, YouTube, and Discord still talk about Vector 2. They replay it using old APKs. They share theories. They recreate levels. There's even a growing demand for Vector 3. Because the idea, this world where control, surveillance, and freedom collide through movement, it still holds power. Still inspires curiosity. So, could Vector 3 happen? If it does, fans have a wish list, a complete narrative, meaningful upgrades, new environments, maybe even multiplayer parkour races. And of course, an actual ending. Until then, we have this legacy. A game that left us with more questions than answers. That forced us to run without reason. And maybe, just maybe, that was the point. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think the truth behind Vector 2 is. Was it a sequel, a prequel, or something else entirely? This is Game City HQ, signing off. Peace.